When it comes to driving a hard bargain for the bush, no one's been more successful in recent years than Brendon Grylls. He's the leader of the WA Nationals and Regional Development Minister, who successfully brokered a deal with the Liberals after the last state election in the West, in return for a pot of gold for rural communities. Brendon Grylls joins me now from State Parliament in Perth. Welcome to Landline.
Great to join Landline again.
When we spoke to you in May 2009 on this program, the people of Western Australia were still getting their heads around the concept of royalties for regions, in effect a better share of mining dividends for the bush. Now it's an idea whose time might well have come nationally.
Well, I think like most areas, that in regional Western Australia isn't endowed with many politicians. That means that the focus is invariably on Perth. With a hung parliament in the Parliament of Western Australia, we took the opportunity to enforce our policy of taking 25% of our mining royalties and investing them back in infrastructure in regional WA. That equates to an amount this year of over $800 million a year. It's allowed us to fund programs like the Ord East Kimberley expansion, new agricultural areas in the East Kimberley of Western Australia, our Pilbara Cities vision of growing strong, vibrant cities in the Pilbara region where all of our mining wealth comes from, supporting local governments who have had crumbling infrastructure for many, many years without the resources to fix it. So $800 million a year of extra money back into regional communities. It's now a program supported by the Liberal National Government. It's government policy making a big difference, and we would hope that with a hung parliament nationally, that the federal government will see their way fit to put matching dollars on the table so we can expand this very valuable program in WA.
Now, your critics and political opponents alike argued that it couldn't be done, shouldn't be done, and certainly wasn't affordable within the context of a state budget belted by the global financial crisis.
Well, I think it's like everything. It might not be affordable if all of the city-centric policies of government are enacted. What we saw in Western Australia was a change of priorities. The Liberal National Government changed focus to make sure that regional Western Australia was included in decisions about service delivery and infrastructure spend. We've managed to maintain our AAA credit rating, continue to deliver balanced budgets. It's really just about a change of focus and a change of, I suppose, interest in making sure that the regions can be grown. I think that that's probably needed in every regional area of Australia, and I'm sure the other regional independents who find themselves in a unique political situation will ensure that that change of focus occurs nationally.
Now, from what we've been hearing over the past week from the new member for O'Connor, Tony Kruger, the man who ousted Liberal firebrand Wilson Tuckey, the WA Nationals don't necessarily see eye to eye with their federal national colleagues, do you?
Well, that's true. I mean, at the end of the day, Western Australia sends 15 representatives to the House of Representatives in Canberra. That's 15 out of 150. On any way you add those numbers up, Western Australia is never going to have much say. With Tony Kruger sharing the balance of power in a hung parliament, maybe there is a chance to focus on regional WA, and instead of seeing in the middle of election campaigns multi-billion-dollar railways promised to the suburbs of our capital cities on the east coast, that major infrastructure projects in regional Western Australia might be focused upon. I actually think that's a good thing. We know in Western Australia that we can keep the Australian economy strong. We just need to make sure that we've got the infrastructure behind us to allow that to happen. And I think that over the course of the coming weeks and months, that all of Australia will see that a strong regional Western Australia helps keep a strong Australia.
Now, there's not been much appetite in either of the two big mining states, Queensland or Western Australia, for Labor's mining tax. Could a federal royalties for regions scheme help to make it easier to swallow?
Well, I think we're very concerned about the mining tax, and the reason we're concerned is that if it's most of these major projects rely on international finance to get off the ground. There's not enough money in Australia to fund the multi-billion-dollar projects which are underpinning the West Australian and national economy. If the new mining tax, which we oppose, goes ahead, we are worried that we scare that international capital market away from Western Australia and the projects simply don't go ahead. It's been very clear that projects like Gorgon at over 40 billion, big projects like Browse, which are on the table now, may not go ahead if the international capital market is scared away. And that's why we don't believe that the multi-billion-dollar mining tax is a good plan for the national economy. We campaign to oppose that. We're hoping that we can use our influence in the federal parliament to stop that tax going ahead, because we know that it's those projects that underpin a strong economy. With a strong economy, that creates the infrastructure dollars that allow for the investment in regional Western Australia that we talk about. Creating a new tax, if it collapses investment, won't be a strong payday for Australia into the future.
It seems the major political parties may have tended to underestimate the critical role regional and rural free spirits would play in the outcome of the 2010 federal election, in much the same way as they did in the last WA state poll. Brendon Grylls, thanks again for joining us on Landline.
Well, it's great to join Landline, and thank you for what you do in bringing regional Australia to the lounge rooms of people on a weekly basis. It's a very important program to link the country to the city.